our senior vice chair, Mr. Liaquat Merchant, who is the former Attorney General at Karachi, senior advocate, and Qazi Azam's grandnephew. Mr. Liaquat Merchant is the administrator of estate of Qazi Azam, founder of Jinnah Foundation, Jinnah Society, and Qazi Azam's Aligarh Education Trust. And I may add here that Aligarh Foundation Trust has given multi-millions of scholarships for education. The number is over 9,000. And Mr. Ikram Sehgal, Vice Chairman of Board of Management Qazi Azam House Museum. He is the Vice Chairman of Council of Pakistan Newspapers Editors, CPNE. We have some representative of CPNE right here now. He is a senior defense analyst. You must have been seeing him very often on the television as a senior defense analyst. He is also the former chairman of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations, and presently he is the patron-in-chief of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. On their behalf, I welcome you to this sacred house. This is a sacred house because something like George Washington's house at Mount Vernon, and similar to Mao Zedong's house in Shoshan village, where people go for homage. Similarly, we are very lucky that we are here to welcome you on this occasion. Also, if I may add, Dr. Sukarno's house in northern Sumatra, they have also turned his house into a museum now. This place, Qazi Azam's House Museum, was turned into an Institute of Nation building in 2021 with the efforts of the two vice chairmen sitting right in the center. With the help of the then Corps Commander, General Humayun, and the present Chief Minister, Mr. Murad Ali Shah. He continues to be our chairman even now, and the co-chairman is the Chief Secretary. Today we have invited, and I see people from Geo, ARY, 24, nearly all the Sama TV, all the important TV channels are here. And without any further ado, may I request Mr. Liaquat Merchant, our Senior Vice Chairman, to come and address, give his address. Mr. Liaquat Merchant.
Assalamu alaikum. My dear colleague Ikram Sehgal, senior members among the guests today, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to see all of you today at Qazi Azam House Museum, a property, a name which all of you have heard and probably seen from outside and perhaps even from inside. To give you a little background, this house used to be called Flagstaff House. It was once occupied by the Commander-in-Chief of the British India Armed Forces, General Gracie, and other British military people. It belonged to a Parsi gentleman at Karachi, Mr. Sohrab Kawazji Katrak. And Mr. Jinnah, when he saw this property during his visits to Karachi, which was quite often, he liked this house and decided to buy it, which he did in 1943, intending this property to be the place where he would like to live after Pakistan became a reality. He bought this in 1943. Unfortunately, he visited the place, He visited this Flagstaff house, but never stayed here. He passed away in 1948. But Fatima Jinnah lived here. After Jinnah died, she had to move out of the Governor General's house, and the government gave this house to her, placed this house to her at her disposal to stay. So she stayed in this whole building by herself from 1948 until 1964. A long period of time. She contested the elections for President of Pakistan in 1964 from this house. Her symbol of the lantern even today adorns a room in this building, even today. So that is the short background of Flagstaff House. When she passed away, this property came under the control of what we call as the estate of Quaid. Now what that really means is that Mr. Jinnah left a will. In that will he disposed of all his properties, and that included the sale of whatever he owned here, and the payment was to be made mainly to educational institutions. To his family members he left just 100 rupees a month. To his brother, his sisters, Rehmat Bhai, Mariam Bhai, Shirin Bhai, 100 rupees a month. That's all. And the rest went to institutions in India and Pakistan. In India he gave it to the Arabic College, Delhi, to Aligarh University in Aligarh, Bombay University, Sindh Madrasa, and Islamia College, Peshawar University. So most of his wealth, 90%, went to educational institutions. This house was not covered by the will, because the will was made in 1939, and this house was bought by him in 1943. So he never changed his will from 39, and he died in 48. So this house became vested in the trustees, executors appointed under Jinnah's will, made in 1939, which included Liaquat Ali Khan. Can you hear me? Fatima Jinnah, Liaquat Ali Khan, Jinnah solicitor in Bombay, Muhammad Ali Chaiwala. So they were the first executors and trustees of Jinnah's estate. As time went on, people passed away, new trustees were appointed. The last two who were appointed was Sayyid Hashim Raza and myself. So when we took over the charge of this property in 1980, it came under our control as administrator of Jinnah's will. And we started looking after it. It was at that time that certain efforts were made for sale of this property. Petitions were filed to prevent the sale, and in that period, while cases were going on, General Zia-ul-Haq decided that he wanted to buy the property for the government of Pakistan. And he sent the Attorney General of Pakistan at that time to meet us. We met him, we filed a petition to the High Court, it was heard by the Chief Justice Abdullah Qureshi, and he ordered that we should sell the property to the government of Pakistan at a subsidized price, which was then fixed at 51 lakhs. That was in 1984. So the sale deed was signed by Sayyid Hashim Raza and myself for this property. It was sold by us to the government. The sale deed is there. I think we should display it somewhere. So it's a part of history now, historical record. It became the property of the government of Pakistan. They made all the improvements, restored the property to its original condition. It was in shambles. Restored it to its original condition and made it what it is today, including the museum. It's all been done by the government of Pakistan. Then came the 18th Amendment to the Constitution of Pakistan, as a result of which the ownership of Flagstaff House vested in the Sindh government. By that time, the name of the property was changed when Mr. Sayyid Jamali was the Prime Minister, and the name was changed to Quaid-e-Azam House from Flagstaff House. When the Sindh government got ownership of the property, they made it into Quaid-e-Azam House Museum, and they set up this whole museum here, which you can visit and see anytime. It's free of cost, no charge, and is open every day except Wednesdays. So this building came into being, the museum came into being. Then Murad Ali Shah, the Chief Minister, he had plans which he must have shared with people. The then Corps Commander, Karachi, Corps 5, General Humayun Aziz, a friend of our friend here, Ikram Saibal, and both of us arranged a meeting to see him. And he said he would help us by talking to Murad Ali Shah and take a decision regarding the management of this house as a place where we could impart information to our younger generations about Jinnah and the Pakistan movement. So that being the basis, then Mr. Murad Ali Shah took a decision and contacted us. And a MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, was signed on these premises between the Sindh government and two institutions who are basically the co-sponsors of the Quaid Azam House Museum as we see it today. One is the Karachi Council on Foreign Relations, of which both I have been the former chairman and Mr. Iqra Saikal was the chairman at that time of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. And the other was the Jinnah Society, of which I was the president. So these two institutions were the co-sponsors to take over management and control of Quaid Azam House. So in short, an MOU was signed here between the Sindh government, Karachi Council and Jinnah Society. All of us signed it, Ikram, myself and Murad Ali Shah as representative ministers there, the secretaries. And this institution, joint public-private partnership, came into being. And the board of management was constituted, comprising about 18 people, public figures. And the chairman still is an ex-officio chairman, is Murad Ali Shah. The ex-officio co-chairman is the Sindh chief secretary. Ikram Saikal and myself, we are both vice chairman. And there's a board of management which runs this place. Now, the museum is entirely controlled and managed and administered by the Sindh government. But they've created it, they've built it, we have no role to play in managing the museum as such. We are here in the annexine, and our job is to propagate the principles, ideals, and vision of Mr. Jinnah as the founder of Pakistan. The reason why this was selected was we would like all the younger generations of Pakistan. There are so many today in this country, not as old as myself and Shah Saab and you sitting here at the time, we are like senior citizens now, that we know about the partition of India, what happened, how it was created, and all the political efforts that went into it. A majority of our population does not know about it, particularly the students, which comprise about almost 40% of Pakistan's population. They have no idea what Pakistan, how it was created, why it was created, what was Jinnah's role, what was the Pakistan Muslim League's role, and what Pakistan was intended to achieve. We sitting here today, Ikram Saikal, myself and our board of management, are trying to convey this to the people of Pakistan. That is our main job. And when I say people of Pakistan, I mean mainly the younger generation. They should know what were the efforts of Mr. Jinnah in creating this country, what role was played by him and his colleagues going forward, and that we have a country today where we are free to live, to work, to speak freely, with freedom, and carry on our work. So basically, we have reached a stage where we arrange programs on a regular basis, where we invite students from schools, colleges, universities. We arrange talks by important leaders, personalities to them. They talk about Pakistan, not entirely about Jinnah, partly about Jinnah, partly about Pakistan, on different subjects. So these talks go on and on. We arrange declamation and elocution competitions for students of schools, senior students of schools in Karachi. We want to increase that by going to the colleges and universities now in the near future. So that's another regular activity taking place here. Then we have other programs, cultural programs, where we invite students on a regular basis to educate them basically and pass on necessary information. So while the museum continues, people can visit it. It's on the web. You can see it on the web. It's also on the YouTube. What is lying inside the museum, you don't have to physically go there and see it. You can see it on the net as well in your house. But what we're going to do very shortly is to prepare a video which we have, because a beautiful documentary was prepared by the former DG Antiquities, who is the major person at the Sindh government to look after this house. We have worked with the DG Antiquities and are going to create a video presentation of all that is lying inside the museum. So those who don't want to go on a tour, actually you cannot go on a tour, you can only see it from the doors and windows from outside. It is too precious to allow the public to go in. You can see the same thing in this video that we are trying to create, and which we will before the end of this year. Then we have another presentation which we show almost once or twice a month at least, and invite schools. We have on our list 138 schools. Where is Saeed Malik? Saeed Bhai? Do we have 138 schools on our list, no? More than 138. Okay, okay. So we send invitations to these schools turn by turn to come, and at a time in the afternoon in this auditorium with up to 60 to 70 students. And we show them a presentation which is based on the Jinnah anthology, which is devoted entirely to Jinnah's activities, political and otherwise, in Pakistan. It's very educational. Whoever sees it is very impressed with it. So that is contained in that big green book that we have produced, the Jinnah Society has produced. We made a video on that, and that is shown to these students when they come here. So that's it. The second thing we want to show is about this house. We are preparing a video that gives you a history of this house briefly and what lies in this house. And the third thing we want to do is create a historical book with all these historical pictures that you see on the wall. These are all historical pictures leading to the creation of Pakistan in 1947. So with these few words, I once again thank the ladies and gentlemen of the press for spending time with us this afternoon. And with regard to the future and the other activities which can be done at this place, have been proposed to be done, are still pending for final consideration. My colleague Ikram Saigal will brief you more because he knows more about that than I do. So with these few words, I thank you once again for being with us today, and may God bless you all. Pakistan Zindabad.
Before I request Mr. Ikram Saigal, I would request now Mr. Khattar. He is a very senior journalist from Pakistan of my vintage, from 50s, 60s onwards. He's the senior, perhaps the senior most journalist, not only here, but in Karachi. Sir, would you like to come and address for a few minutes, especially so in the presidency?
Thank you, Honorable Liaquat, Merchant Ikram Saigal, Khadim Ali Shah Bukhari, Mr. Jafar, and our colleague. I'm thankful for giving an opportunity to speak in this August gathering. जब कायद आज़म म्यूज़ियम की जो सिलसिला सारा हो रहा था, इकराम सैगल साहब जो है ना, वो मैं शुरू से ही हमें उन्होंने बताते रहे, ऑन बोर्ड करते रहे, और यहाँ एक जो इवेंट्स हुए उसमें भी हम शामिल हुए, और बहुत ही अच्छा वर्क है आफ्टर रिवोल्यूशन मेड बाय 18 अमेंडमेंट। ये जब यहाँ पर आया तो यहाँ पर जो है ना एक बिल्कुल एबंडेंट एक सिलसिला था जिसकी जो है ना जो शक्ल आई है। तो इस पे जो है ना मैं आप सबको जो है ना मुबारकबाद भी देता हूँ। और जो कोई भी समाज या मुआशरा या सोसाइटी, मुल्क, रियासत, वो अपनी तारीख से जो है वो क्या कहते हैं बेबेरा या बिल्कुल ही आइसोलेट होकर नहीं रह सकती। तारीख़ जो है ना एक बहुत बड़ा ट्रेज़र होता है, मुख्तलिफ़ तजुर्बात का, मुख्तलिफ़ सोच और विजन्स का, और समाज और मुआशरा आगे बढ़ता है ड्यू टू प्रिंसिपल ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस एंड ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन। ओल्डर जनरेशन से आउटगोइंग जनरेशन से उनके एक्सपीरियंस जो है ना एक ट्रेजर्स की शक्ल में, उनका विजन, उनकी स्ट्रगल और उनके जो है ना बहुत सारी इनपुट जो कि आउटपुट की शक्ल में होती हैं, हम जो है फिर इनहेरिट करके नई जनरेशन को जो देते हैं, इससे सोसाइटी आगे बढ़ती है। बदकिस्मती से हमारे मुल्क में अपनी तारीख़ से सीखने का जो है ना वो रुझान, बल्कि तारीख़ पढ़ने का भी और तारीख़ लिखने का भी जो है ना वो रुझान बहुत कम है, और जो कुछ है तो वो सारा एक प्लांटेड होता है, जिसकी वजह से हम अपनी तारीख़ को उस तरह से सही नहीं समझते। कायद आज़म की भी स्ट्रगल जो है वो हमारे पास जो उसका विज़न, जिसकी जो है ना हमें बहरहाल ये कि काम भी है इस फोरम का, کہ قائد اعظم کے ویژن کو، ان کی اسٹرگل کو، ان کی پرسنالٹی کو اور ان کی وزڈم کو بھی جو ہے، ان کے ویژن کو ہمیں جو ہے نا بتانا چاہیے. مگر یہ ہے کہ ہسٹری میں جو ہے کوئی بھی چیزیں جو ہے نا اپس اینڈ ڈاؤن ہوں تو ان کو جو ہے نا کبھی بھی چھپانا نہیں چاہیے. جو قوم، معاشرہ، ریاست یا جو ہے نا کیا کہتے ہیں گروہ یا سماج جو ہے وہ اپنی تاریخ سے اگر جو ہے نا بدعنوانی کرے گئے تو اس کا مستقبل جو ہے نا وہ کبھی بھی نہیں سنور سکتا. بدقسمتی سے ہمارے پاس جو آج کے جو بحران ہے اس کا جو ہے بھی بہت بڑا ایک فیکٹر یہ ہے کہ تاریخ کو جو ہے، اصل تاریخ کو ہماری نئی نسل کے سامنے نہیں رکھا جاتا ایمانداری کے ساتھ. وہ تاریخ جو ہے نا آبجیکٹو ہوتی ہے، تاریخ معروضی ہوتی ہے، لیکن تاریخ کے لکھتے وقت جب اسے سبجیکٹو اس کے اندر وشز، ڈریمز اور سوچ آ جاتی ہے تو وہ تاریخ کو مسخ کر دیتی ہے. یہ ہمارا جو ہے نا بہت بڑا ایک المیہ ہے. مثال طور پر قائد اعظم کی جب جتنی اسٹرگل رہی اور انہوں نے جب ہمارا ملک بنا تو ہمارے ملک کے طور پر ایز فرسٹ گورنر جنرل ایز فرسٹ ہیڈ آف اسٹیٹ ان کو کن پرابلمس کا سامنا کرنا پڑا، ان کو کیا جو ہے نا آبسٹیکلز ان کے سامنے آئے، ان کا ان کے سلسلے میں کیا ریئیکشن تھا، کیا کمنٹ تھا. اور قائد اعظم جو ہے نا وہ کتنا جو ہے نا وہ اپنے طور پر جو ہے نا وہ آزاد تھے، یا ان کو جو ہے نا وہ بالکل وہ کیا کہتے ہیں مختلف چیزوں کا ان کو ایک قسم کی وہ اپنے آپ کو پابند محسوس کرتے تھے. یہ ہمارے ملک کی بدقسمتی ہے کہ قائد اعظم پر پی ایچ ڈی کرنے کو یہاں ڈسکریج کیا جاتا ہے. اور میرا یہ خیال ہے کہ ہمیں جو ہے نا اپنی حکومتوں سے بھی، اپنے تعلیمی اداروں سے بھی اور اپنی ریاست سے بھی یہ کہنا چاہیے کہ قائد اعظم کی پوری شخصیت پر ایک امپارشل جو ہے وہ ہماری پاس ریسرچ ہونی چاہیے اور بہت سارا مسئلہ. انفارچونیٹلی قائد اعظم کی برتھ پلیس پر بھی ڈسپوٹس ہیں اور اس پہ بھی جو ہے نا مسئلہ یہ ہے. قائد اعظم کی جو پہلی تقریر جو ہے نا وہ تھی جو وہ جو ہے نا اس کو وہ پوری طرح وہ نہیں ہوئی، وہ کیوں سینسر ہوئی، اور اس تقریر کے اندر کیا تھا، اور وہ تقریر جو سینسر ہوئی وہ سینسر شدہ حصے کیا تھے. وہی قائد اعظم کا ویژن تھا جس کو سینسر کر دیا گیا. یہ ساری ایک انفارچونیٹ ہے. اور جب تک بہت سارا سلسلہ جو ہے نا ہمارے پاس رہا، قائد اعظم نے کیوں کانگریس جوائن کی تھی اس کا بھی سبب ہمیں پتہ نہ چلے، اور وہ کیا حالات تھے کہ قائد اعظم کانگریس سے نکل کے پھر وہ بننے اپنے کیا کہتے ہیں مسلم لیگ کی جو ہے نا انہوں نے شمولیت اختیار کی. اور پھر ان کو ایک ملک کی کیا ضرورت تھی، آزاد ملک کی، اس کے کیا وہ تھے پاکستان ریزولوشن جس کو 1940 کم ریزولوشن کہتے ہیں. وہ بھی ہمیں یہ سوچنا چاہیے کہ جس دن 23 مارچ 1940 کو جب وہ جو ہے نا ایک ریزولوشن پاس ہوا جس کو لاہور ریزولوشن کہا جاتا تھا، بعد میں اب اسے پاکستان ریزولوشن کہتے ہیں، اس کو جو ہے نا ہم سے اس دن کو ریپبلک ڈے مناتے تھے. وہ ریپبلک ڈے کا نام کیوں چینج ہوا، کن مقاصد کے لیے چینج ہوا، کس نے کیا. میں بہت ہی مختصر باتیں جو ہے نا اس طرح کرتے ہیں کہ بعض چیزیں ہمارے پاس ایسی ہیں کہ جیسے یہاں پر ہم نہیں جانا، ہم اپنی کسی مخصوص جو ہے نا کسی انٹرسٹ یا مفاد کے یا ویسٹرن انٹرسٹ کی وجہ سے، یا جو ہے نا کسی خوف یا ایجیٹیشن کی وجہ سے، یا کسی جو ہے نا ہم کیا کہتے ہیں روا روی کی وجہ سے ہم بہت ساری جو ہے نا ہم نے اپنے لیے ہی ایک قسم کے نو گو ایریاز بنائے. تاریخ کے اندر کوئی نو گو ایریا نہیں ہوتا. تاریخ میں اگر جائیں گے اور صحیح سے تاریخ جو ہے نا آئے گی، اس فلیگ اسٹاف کے ساتھ، اسٹاف ہاؤس کے ساتھ کیا ہوتا رہا وہ ہسٹری بھی آنی چاہیے. ہماری جو ہے نا فاطمہ جناح کے ساتھ کیا ہوتا رہا وہ بھی ہے. یہ بھی ایک کوشچن مارک ہے کہ فاطمہ جناح کی نیچرل ڈیتھ ہوئی، آئدر شی واز ڈائڈ نیچرلی اور بروٹلی مرڈر. یہ بھی ایک بہت بڑا سوالیہ نشان ہے. اور اسی طرح جو ہے نا ہمارے پاس جو یہاں پر جو ریاستیں تھیں جو پاکستان بننے کے بعد ملی اور ان سے جس طرح سے وعدے کیے گئے ایسے پاکستان کے آئے تو ان ریاستوں کا کیا اثر ہوا. خیر پور اسٹیٹ جو ہے وہ حاصل کے اندر ایک تعلیم اس کا مرکز تھی، اور آج جو ہے نا خیر پور جو ہے وہ صرف اسی بنیاد پہ چل رہی ہے اور اس کا کوئی وہ نام نہیں. ہم نے جوناگڑھ کی ریاستوں اور ان کے ساتھ بھی جو ہے نا جو یہاں پر جو ہے نا جس طرح ضرورتیں کرتے ہیں یہ ہماری کوئی ڈگنیٹی کی جو ہے نا وہ سے مطابقت نہیں رکھتا. ہماری ہسٹورک پرسنالٹیز ابھی جو بھی قائد اعظم کے جو دور کے رشتے دار ہیں ان سارا ہے، اور جو ابھی تک جلسہ چلا جا رہا ہے ان سے لوگ اس طرح سے واقف نہیں ہیں. اور میں کہتا ہوں واقف اس لیے نہیں ہیں کہ ہمارے پاس کچھ انویزیبل فورسز جو ہے نا وہ نہیں چاہتی کہ لوگ ان سے واقفیت حاصل کریں. تو میں یہ بات بھی کہتا ہوں کہ اس پہ ہمارے بورڈ آف مینجمنٹ کو اب یہ کریج لینا چاہیے. اگر وہ جو ہے نا جو آبسٹیکلس تھے, جو پریشرز تھے, دے ہیو بین وائپڈ آؤٹ. اب وہ نہیں ہے. ہم اس طرح سے جو ہے نا ایک جس طرح سے کہ ہم اپنی مرغیوں کو جو پالتے تھے, شام کو اسے قریب آتے تھے, خود ہی دبک کر بیٹھ جاتی تھی اور ہم اسے ڈربے میں بند کرتے تھے. اب جو ہے نا کوئی, اب ہمارے پاس کوئی وہ ڈربہ نہیں رہا. یہ نہیں ہے, سب وقت آزاد ہیں. میرے خیال میں اب ہمیں جو ہے نا دبک کے بیٹھنے کی بجائے ہمیں جو ہے نا ضرورت ہے کہ ہم ایک ڈیئرنگ جو ہے نا ہمارا ایک اوپینین ہو, اور جو ہے نا یہ ساری سلسلے جو ہے نا لیاقت بچہ صاحب کو اور جو ہے نا جن کی واقعیت میں وہ آئیں, وہ ڈاکومنٹس بنے اور اس سے جو ہے نا اگر ہمارے ماضی میں کچھ زیادتیاں ہوئی ہیں تو وی شوڈ. ساؤتھ افریقہ کے اندر ٹروتھ ریکنسیلیشن ہوا, ہمارے ساتھ بھی بہت سارے تاریخی واقعات کے لیے ٹروتھ ریکنسیلیشن کا جو ہے نا اپنانا پڑے گا. ماضی کی جو غلطیاں ہیں وہ سزا نہیں. قائد اعظم کی وہ اصل تحریک, اس کی اصل شخصیت اور ان کی اصل جد و جہد اور ان کے وشز ڈریمز, ان کے پولیٹیکل آئیڈیاز اور ان کا جو ہے نا ویژن, یہ سب جو ہے نا وہ سلسلہ جو کہ جو اس نے جو ہے نا مذہب کی امانگی کی جو بات کی تھی وہ ہم نے فوراً جو ہے نا اس سے رخ موڑ لیا. ہم جو ہے نا ایک فنیٹک قسم کی جو ہے نا ہم نے اپنا ایک روپ بنا لیا. وہ روپ قائد اعظم کی تعلیمات کے برخلاف تھا. قائد اعظم واز نیور adopted such chauvinistic ideas. وہ ہیومنسٹ تھے, وہ انسان تھے, وہ رنگ نسل ذات مذہب کے تعصب کے بغیر جنہوں چیزوں کو رکھتے تھے. وہ ڈیموکریٹس تھے, وہ بہت بڑے ڈیموکریٹس تھے, اور وہ چاہتے تھے کہ ملک کے اداروں کے اندر جو ادارے موجود ہیں وہ سب اپنی اپنی جگہ رہیں. اور کیوں جو ہے نا انہوں نے قائد اعظم انہوں نے کہا تھا کہ اس کو اب ایوب خان کو پروموٹ نہیں کرنا چاہیے. پرابلم وہیں سے ہوئی جب قائد اعظم کی جو ہے اس ویژن کے ساتھ نہیں ہوئے. انفارچونیٹلی وی نیور ہیڈ سچ ڈیئرنگ اور سچ بولڈنیس اور کریج کہ ہم یہ بات کرتے اور اس کو آج کنٹینیو کرتے. آج وقت ہے اب وہ کہ بھئی ہم قرآن ہی جو ہے نا اس کو سامنے رکھیں تاکہ آئندہ آنے والی جنریشن جو ہے نا یہ ہو کہ ہماری ریاست نے, ہماری حکومت نے قائد اعظم کے ساتھ کیا کیا, وہ ایمبولینس کا کیا بنا, کون ذمہ دار تھا. میں مبارک ولیج میں ایک شخص سے ملا, مجھے پتہ نہیں ابھی زندہ تھے مردہ تھے, جب وہ ایمبولینس قائد اعظم کی رکی اور اس کو جو دھکا اور اس کی جو ہے نا وہ پورا, اور اس نے کہا کہ مجھے تو بہت ہی جو ہے نا یہ تھا کہ ملک کا بادشاہ ہے, یعنی کہ وہ اکریم کرے, اس کی جو ہے نا یہ حالت ہے. اور کیوں ان کو جو ہے نا وہ زیارت بھیجا گیا, فار واٹ اینڈ ہو ڈیسائیڈڈ دس. اور یہ کوئی مطلب علاج جو ہے نا کے لیے ماڈرن جگہ پہ آتے ہیں اور وہ وہاں پر جو ہے نا آب و ہوا کے نام پر ان کو قید کیا گیا. پھر انہوں نے اپنی بہن سے کیا کہا, محترمہ فاطمہ جناح سے, کہ یہ لوگ مجھے مارنا چاہتے ہیں. جو قائد اعظم کو مارنا چاہتے تھے وہ کون لوگ تھے جن سے جو قائد اعظم نے جن کو پوائنٹیشن کی کہ قائد اعظم کو مارنا چاہتے ہیں. میں آپ سب دوستوں سے, سینئر لوگوں سے, میرے لیے یو آر آل ایگن میں, لیکن میں ایک ہمبل سی جو ہے نا ایک ریکویسٹ کرتا ہوں کہ اگر ہمیں اپنے جو ہے نا رول صحیح ادا کرنا ہے, ان ایشوز کو انرس کرنا ہے, ان ایشوز کو واضح کرنا ہے, اور جو کچھ قائد اعظم کے ساتھ, جو تحریک پاکستان کے ساتھ, جو مسلم لیگ کے ساتھ جو کھلواڑ ہوئے, اور جس طرح سے جو ہے نا قائد اعظم کے بغیر جو ہے نا فوج کے مشورے کے برعکس جو ہے نا فوج میں جو ترقیاں ہوئی, وہ سب جو ہے نا اس ڈسبیکل کے ذمہ دار ہے. اور اگر آج ہم اپنا رول ادا نہیں کریں گے, ہم بھی جو ہے نا اسی طرح ایک رہ جائیں گے جیسے کہ آج کی نسل کو اس قائد اعظم ہاؤس کا جو ہے نا وہ نہیں پتا. اب بڑی کوششوں سے لاتے ہیں, ہماری کسی کتابوں میں ذکر نہیں ہے, ہماری نئی نسل کو ذکر نہیں ہے. وہ ڈائنامک قسم کی, وہ وائبرنٹ اسٹرگل, وہ بڑی جو ہے نا ذمہ دار اسٹرگل جو ہے نا وہ جو تھی, جس پہ جو ہے نا ظاہر ہے کہ قائد اعظم اور ان کے ساتھیوں نے جو تھی وہ سب ہم سے جو ہے نا غائب کروائی گئے. ہمیں پڑھایا نہیں گیا, ہمیں نہیں نکالا گیا. ہم صرف سمبولک جو ہے نا ایک رکھتے ہیں, اس کو ایک سمبل کے طور پہ رکھا. زیارہ ریزیڈنسی کو جو ہے نا ابھی اپنے سمپل کے طرح رکھا, لیکن اس کے اندر جو زندگی تھی, جو تعارف تھا, جو موبلٹی تھی, جو ڈائنامزم تھا, جو وزڈم تھا اور جو ویژن تھا, اس سے خالی ہو کے ایک پتلے کی شکل میں جو ہے نا ہم چیزوں کو جو ہے نا آگے رکھتے ہیں، جیسے صرف کہ یہ کنکریٹ کی دیواریں ہیں، اس کے اندر کوئی سوچ نہیں، ان کی کوئی فکر نہیں، ان کا کوئی ضمیر نہیں. یہ سب کیا ہے تو ایک یہ جتنی بھی کنکریٹ کی دیواریں ہیں، یہ زندہ و جاوید جو ہے ایک روحوں کی زندگیوں کا جو ہے نا ایک عکس تھے. اس عکس میں جو ہے نا اس پہ پردہ نہیں ڈالنا چاہیے. اس کو انس کریں گے تو نہیں فیوچر ہمارا پاکستان کا مستقبل تبھی تھا سامنے آپ ہوگا. سوری فار مائی بٹرنیس بٹ وٹ ایور آئی ہیو ایکسپریس اٹ از ریئلی came from deep in my heart, whatever I so thank you.
بہت بہت شکریہ پھٹک صاحب. اور میں آپ کو یہاں بتانا چاہوں گا اس سے پہلے کہ میں اکرام سہگل صاحب کو دعوت دوں کہ ہمارا مدعا یہاں پہ جیسا کہ لیاقت مرچنٹ صاحب نے بیان فرمایا، نئی جنریشن ہے. ہماری پریزنٹ جنریشن نے اپنے آپ کو، ہم مطمئن نہیں ہیں. جو کچھ ہونا چاہیے تھا جیسا کہ آپ نے فرمایا ویسا نہیں ہو پا رہا. اور لیکن یہ نہیں ہے کہ دیٹ از دا اینڈ آل. انشاءاللہ ہم اس بہتری کی طرف جائیں گے، اور یہی مقصد ہے بورڈ آف مینجمنٹ اسٹیبلش کرنے کا. اس کے ایم او یو اور نوٹیفیکیشن میں یہی چیزیں لکھی ہوئی ہیں، اور ہم آہستہ آہستہ اس کو گیدر کر رہے ہیں. ہمارا ٹارگیٹ عام طور پہ ہمارے آنے والے یونیورسٹی اور کالج کے اسٹوڈنٹس ہیں. دیٹس دا فیوچر آف پاکستان. اور آپ کو یہ بھی بتاتا چلوں کہ جب ہم 70 سے 80 لڑکے اور لڑکیوں کو بلاتے ہیں تو عام طور پہ 65 سے 70 لوگ آ جاتے ہیں جمع ان کا اسٹاف، اور یہ ہم بھر جاتے ہیں. آج کیونکہ ہمیں آڈینس ڈفرینٹ تھا تو نیچرلی کم آئے ہیں، بٹ بہرحال آپ نے جو باتیں کہی ہیں آپ کا بہت بہت شکریہ. میں ناؤ ریکویسٹ مسٹر اکرام سہگل، ان کو میں نے آلریڈی آپ سے انٹروڈیوس کروایا ہوا ہے. ماشاءاللہ آپ ان کو ٹی وی پہ ریگولرلی دیکھتے ہیں. میں ان سے ریکویسٹ کروں گا کہ نہ صرف قائد اعظم ہاؤس اور اس کے بارے میں جرنلسٹ کو جو بتانا چاہے گا، ان کے علاوہ جو پریزنٹ سچویشن ہے اس پر بھی اپنے خیالات کا اظہار کریں، اور اس کے بعد ہم کچھ کوشچن اور آنسر بھی ان سے کریں گے. اکرام سہگل صاحب.
بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم. لیاقت مرچنٹ، حاجی جعفر صاحب، حاجی شاہ صاحب، بار کھٹک صاحب، سب سے پہلی بات تو آئی تھنک میں ضرور کہوں گا کہ لیاقت مرچنٹ deserves all our praise for having still carrying the torch alive that was meant to be carried. And unfortunately, as the architect has said, we tend to cover or camouflage a lot of things and change history as we would like it to be changed. So I'm in fact very grateful to start with the Barker, because he actually was one of the people who inducted me into the Council of Pakistan Newspaper Editors, and I think I'm one of the few servicemen who served on the standing committee and as vice president for many years because of him mainly. And obviously this gave me an insight into the print media to a great extent, because it is the Council of Pakistan Newspaper Editors. And I learned a lot. And one of the things I learned was how facts are obscured. Previously it was manual. Now on the social media it is electronic. And therefore much more virulent than it was done. But whatever happened previously was also. I will start off with the 1940 resolution. The 1940 resolution talked about two sovereign states. It was later on, by agreement, changed to the Pakistan resolution, and it became one sovereign state in Pakistan. But let me also tell you something which I have not known. And I talk about the Quaid-e-Azam's strategic vision. Quaid-e-Azam was one of the most strategic thinkers that this world has ever known. Unfortunately, we've never been able to project his strategic vision abroad because we have remained confined till very recently to both by design and by circumstances to a small place in this world. In 1946, July 1946, Sher-e-Bangla Fadlul Haq, Hussain Shaheed Sarwardi, who incidentally was a granduncle of mine, and Mr. Abul Hassan, they went, Abul Hashim, they went to the Quaid and said, we should have a greater Bengal. And if we have a greater Bengal, what is the name? We are one country. We may be two countries, but we are one nation. But if we have greater Bengal, then we will have Azam and all these 7 states with it, and West Bengal. Quaid-e-Azam readily agreed to this and said, go ahead. Incidentally, it was a part of the Mountbatten plan. It's in black and white. You cannot change it. But Congress immediately saw the danger. It immediately saw the danger of 2 things. One, of losing its main port at Calcutta, and number 2, the entire resources of Assam and the 7 states. So they came across a strategy which is, when Jawahar Khattak was talking, I was just thinking about it. They came with a strategy which worked. They said, even if there is a minority vote in the West Bengal Assembly, please note it, even if there is a minority vote in the West Bengal Assembly, Bengal cannot be united. So, in the West Bengal Assembly, there was a majority vote for United Bengal, but the minority vote, because Mountbatten made it so, because the Congress reached it, and therefore he went back to the original dream, and what the Quaid said in his own words, not talking about other people, he said, for the sake of having a separate nation, I accepted a truncated, moth-eaten Pakistan. Having said that, the real machinery, well, after 1947, first the Indians thought that we would collapse by itself. When people, the forefathers of Qadir Jafar Sahab and Dada Boy and Azamjis, they came up and put their money where their mouth is. I'm saying this very clearly, put their money where their mouth is. They bankrolled Pakistan. Because of that, we survived. And we survived because of other reasons, but I don't want to go into other reasons. But we survived. And this survival went on until 1962. And I'm going to talk about 1962 because in 1962, India, just like they did on Pakistan, literally declared war on China. They did the exact thing. The newspapers say the Prime Minister has given go-ahead to throw the Chinese out. Jawans swing into action. These are on paper. In 14 days, the entire Indian army was en route. In Nepal, in Ladakh, everywhere. The Chinese came down to foothills. Entire Nepal they had captured. They took a lot of places in Aksai Chain, Ladakh, etc. But they themselves unilaterally decided a ceasefire, and the troops were in such disarray that a lot of Indian army troops came across into East Pakistan and surrendered. I'm eyewitness to this because I was a young man at that time in college. My father was commanding one of the major units in East Pakistan, and we saw these people in Sylhet, thousands of them, unarmed Indian army soldiers sitting there, who had come across even the Brahmaputra, which was in between them and the Chinese, and had come to East Pakistan. At that time, the Indians requested, and I want you to please note this, the Indians requested the Americans, because the Chinese had told Ayub Khan, take Kashmir. This is your thing. You take Kashmir. This is your opportunity. The Americans turned to Ayub Khan and says, please do not do this. We will arrange for you. We will have talks after this war is over, but please do not take Kashmir. So Kashmir, which was absolutely defenseless at that time in front of Pakistani troops, Pakistan did not do anything. I want to say this because I want to, please note this. In 1965, when for whatever reason we went to war, and I do take this instead that Operation Gibraltar, which was an old, by the way, it was not a new tactics, but it was, I think, like Colonel S.G. Mehdi said at that time, and Colonel S.G. Mehdi was very clear. Colonel S.G. Mehdi said, this is going to be our Bay of Pigs, so please do not do that. He was the SSG commander. And the SSG commander was saying, as an advisor to the Pakistan Army at that level, he was saying that thing, but he was told to his troops were to be used, there were volunteers taken, and Gibraltar force was sent in without training, without logistics, without proper equipment, I mean, everything. Colonel S.G. Mehdi is on record saying, we just need a couple of years of training. We need preparation. But he was overruled, and 65 went in. After 65, India went into overdrive. And they decided they will have to dismember Pakistan. And then you had the Agartala conspiracy case. Then you had the Ganga incident, which an Indian aircraft, F-27, brought out of mothballs, was hijacked to Lahore, blown up at Lahore airport. And later it was found that 3 of the hijackers were decorated by India because they were raw operatives. Only the leader of the thing was Kashmiri separatist, and he was used as that thing, etc. But it was a false flag operation. We succeeded because India used that excuse to stop all overflights from West to East Pakistan and vice versa. At that point of time, there used to be 25 flights a day between East and West Pakistan. There were flights from Islamabad, Lahore, and Karachi. But they stopped. Overflight stopped, that false flag operations, the thing. And then, of course, I don't want to go into the events of 71. They're very clear. It was absolutely, we had no chance. With 3.5 divisions, lightly equipped, and the entire population up in arms, it was impossible. So, what came into being was a truncated Bangladesh. I use the word moth-eaten, truncated Bangladesh. What originally thought about Sher-e-Bangla, Hussain Shariwardi, and Abul Hashim, a greater Bengal. Now, fast forward to history. Now, false flag operations, since Modi's government came in, Hasina Wajid's government was put into power, super proxy for India. And she went into overdrive for corruption, for brutality. Whatever she could do, she did, right? People in Pakistan, and I've stood in this podium and many other podiums, again answering, people in Pakistan came to believe the Indian propaganda that the Bangladeshis hate Pakistanis. I kept on telling them, and I used one cricket pretext. I said, let's see why they do not allow flags in the cricket stadium during international matches. because the crowds used to bring Pakistani flags. So they would not allow. So here the propaganda was, oh, they hate, and they used to have this small demonstration in front of Hotel Shahbag. You bring 500 people to Hotel Shahbag, and you can have a demonstration of 200,000 people when the road clogs up. And they used to bring the students were staying in Hotel Shahbag, funded by them. Anytime they used to anti-Pakistan, they used to come out, an anti-Pakistan demonstration was there. And people in Pakistan started believing it. And I said, please, do not think so. Think about all the textile industries owners that have gone from West Pakistan, from Pakistan, set up industries there now. And they're all right. The only thing the Bangladesh government told them was that please declare any other nationality but Pakistani. But you can work here. So most of the textile units in Bangladesh today, 70% of them are of people of Pakistan origin. But I take you to August 5th, 2024, when a youth-led revolution, it was not anybody else, it was not any political party, a youth-led revolution toppled one of the most despotic, powerful dictators. And for whatever reason, she was flown out of Bangladesh post haste in a very short time, and a neutral government came into power. I want to go right up to, I don't want to go into the fact that I visited Bangladesh for the first time. My only sister is buried there. I wanted to go to her grave. I visited there. I was honored by them, even though I was on a private visit. I don't want to go into all the details, but I will tell you this, that during this process, after the present government of regime of Bangladesh has come into it, there's been a lot of interaction between the armed forces of Pakistan and Bangladesh. To the extent that there are 27 officers of the Bangladesh Army studying in Pakistan Army institutions and Pakistan Air Force institutions and Pakistan Naval institutions, right? So, where was that hatred? And similarly, Pakistan armed forces officers are studying in Bangladesh. Not to the extent that they are, but they are studying there. But let me tell you, over the last few days, from the time the Pahalgam incident took place, every bureaucrat and every armed forces officer and every analyst, without exception, that has come on Bangladesh television has supported Pakistan's point. Without exception. You cannot imagine how they went to town. I mean, of course, they went to some extraordinary stuff also, and they said that a war in Pakistan, any war against Pakistan is a war against Bangladesh, etc., etc. Well, I think, before 6th of May, I would be a bit worried about it. In 1967, the Middle East completely changed. When Israel Air Force attacked Egypt and Syria, and in 6 days, they won the war. From 1967, Israel became the policeman of the Gulf. To the extent today that they bomb Gaza, they bomb Houthis, they bomb Lebanon, they bomb Syria, they bomb Iraq, right? They bomb Iran, and then, of course, they got an answer from Iran, but for whatever reason, I think then they became a bit cautious. But 6th May, after 6th May, 7th May, something changed. Something changed when the first aircraft, 70 of them,
Indian aircraft, including the top of the line Rafale aircraft, state of the art, Western technology, supposedly game changer, which was inducted into the Indian Air Force in 2020 with great ceremony. They came and they, from a distance, no aircraft came into Pakistani territory, and the Pakistani aircraft, which went up, 30 of them, did not go into Indian territory. But the result was a disaster for them. On the night, the thing, etc., when they went in, they got number of their aircraft shot down. First, they were jammed, superior technology by the Chinese made J-10s and J-17s using PL-15 air-to-air missiles. And then Rafale came down, and MiG-29 came down, and Su-30 came down. And ultimately, they said 3 Rafales and 2 other aircraft. They talk about a 6th aircraft, not known. However, now they had to do something. And Pakistan braced for it. But Pakistan had said, we'll go in for a retaliatory strike. So when they braced for it, they went and attacked us with all across. They had done it earlier also, a day or two earlier, with drones, with ballistic missiles, with BrahMos missiles. I mean, you name it, they threw it at us. It started at 2:55 when the first BrahMos missile came onto Nur Khan Air Base. At 4:30, the button was ready. At 4:30, the go-ahead was given. And our aircraft, 3 aircraft, which were the first ones to penetrate Indian airspace, went and destroyed the S-400, the best ground-to-air missile this thing in the world, which was bought by India. 4 batteries were bought, destroyed the battery at Azampur. Once that battery was destroyed and electronic warfare degraded their networks, and our missiles went into strike, our whatever the thing, etc. 9 of their bases were absolutely made incapacitated, at least for some time, while 20 of the bases were damaged. The Indian Air Force was paralyzed. At that point of time, remembering 1962, remembering other times that Indians had come onto the table, I did say on television, please don't accept the ceasefire. Finish your job. Go for another this thing. I'm not privy to the whatever the plan was. But I did say, don't. You will lose on the negotiating table what you have won on the battlefield. We destroyed their air force in 6 hours. It took Israelis 6 days. It took us 6 hours to destroy them. But the destruction was not complete because the lies started coming out, and it's a litany of lies, one after the other, right? Whatever, whoever, that thing, etc., it is now clear that the Americans who were 24 hours earlier, J.D. Vance was on record, the Vice President, saying that we will not interfere. 24 hours later, the Americans had imposed a ceasefire in part of that thing. And I don't know what will come out of it, but I don't think anything good will come out of it. They hit our dams also. We should have symbolically at least hit Baglia Dam for Chenab, and we should have hit Kishan Ganga for the thing. Hit him symbolically, if nothing else. But we didn't do so. But so the Indian Warsaw Treaty stands abrogated by them. The Article 370 of held Kashmir stand there. I am not I'm very clear about it. I don't think they will talk anything. They may do this for semantics, for the sake of satisfying the Americans and the Western powers. But something has changed. Something has changed. And I tell you, Pakistanis, you should rejoice. Because Quaid's vision may just come to fruition for many reasons. First of all, the Arab states, all of whom were having, and one of them had a defense pact with India. India. They had a wake-up call in the morning. Two of the rulers, prime rulers, kings, are Air Force pilots. If nothing else, they must have got up in the morning and realized what has happened. India is not, the myth has been of strategic superiority in this region has gone. And it has gone all over. Right? And by the way, Sayyid Malik Sahib is looking at me and I'll tell this, Navy also kept them up far away. Vikrant was hidden from us because of our Navy. Right? We don't want to give out more state secrets here. But the fact remains, tomorrow or day after tomorrow, our friends in the Middle East will not look at us in the same way that they looked at us earlier, provided हम थले नहीं लग जाएं, फिर, for whatever reason. We have come out of the strategic closet. India is no more a regional policeman for this area. Right? They understand. Who understands this? The understanding is, why have the shares of the Chengdu aviation gone up? Why have the shares of the Dassault aviation gone down? Because Rafale, right? Because of this thing, etc. Because it's very clear what has happened. So, I think we have to be very clear as to what has happened. We have come out of the strategic closet. We are now a power in our own right. And not because of ourselves alone. It may be the Chinese have given us equipment. It may be that Turks have given us equipment and support. All out support. We cannot forgive that. And some other friends have given us tacit support also. But the fact of the matter remains that it was Pakistanis who were handling that equipment. And it was wonderful to see an Indian general say so. He said something which was very enlightening. He said, I would rather fight the Chinese than the Pakistanis having Chinese equipment. He says, I would rather fight the Chinese rather than fight Pakistanis having Chinese equipment. He says, the Pakistani soldier, he said, this is a full 4-star general, he said the Pakistani soldier and the airman and the naval man is far superior. So, if we have the right equipment, and I may so if we have the right leadership, we can accomplish wonders. I'm sorry for taking your time, but I see today that in the future, maybe, Azam's original strategic vision of 2 sovereign states, one Pakistan this side, and maybe if Tara Singh had accepted his offer of Khalistan at that time, and maybe Khalistan comes into existence and Kashmir becomes a moot question, and on the other hand, Bangladesh annexes, as their generals and their bureaucrats have been saying on television, that we should now move to annex Azam. So maybe ground reality becomes true in not only the vision becomes a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was a round of we are the live witnesses of what Mr. Ikram Sehgal has said. Few of us over here who are the live witnesses what Mr. Ikram Sehgal has said. It reminded us of 1962, 65, 71 and the present state. You have listened to him, but I may add, if you permit, sir, about Pakistan Navy. They kept them at beyond 325 nautical miles away. Yes, I've been a Orange Commander of the paper exercise, and as long as Indian Navy doesn't come beyond 325 nautical miles from our coast, they cannot do anything. And they put away their aircraft carrier halfway through. It went away, and it did not go straight to Bombay. It went straight towards Sri Lanka, and it's a huge big area, and it could not have been followed. But sir, thank you very much. And before I end, if there are any questions from our elite.
Sir, my name is Azam and I'm the Deputy Secretary over here. I have a question for economic side of stuff. The Pakistan's current stance towards itself involves in navigating a complex situation right now, internal and external. What is your stance as the current situation is happening in India and Pakistan? What Pakistan should take good steps so that we can be not pushed back again?
I think let us put in the initiative with one to nothing. The initiative was with us to meet in meeting. After we did the initiative is gone away. It's not there. Now, I will tell you that Mr. Trump, of course, one great thing has happened is the Americans openly said that we want to mediate. Trump said that, which is a very big thing. It's not a small thing.
Yes.
But you will see that this will fade away. In the next few days, this will fade away. When the Indians demonstrate with them that this is between us and Pakistan and you are nowhere to come, etc., and they will have to publicly say, okay, no, sort it out using your service. So they will keep on saying that we don't know, they will give the right thing, but I don't see them mediating as far as Kashmir is concerned.
Thank you very much, sir.
If there's any other question, please go ahead.
सारंग यादव मेरा नाम है और मैं कराची काउंसिल फॉर मिशन का मेंबर हूँ। एक तो आपने बड़ी अच्छी बात फरमाई कि कश्मीर का जब इशू हुआ था यू खान हैड वे टू क्लीन स्वीप दिस थिंग बिकॉज़ इट वाज डिजास्टर्स। लाइकवाइज इस वक्त जब हमें मौका मिला था एक जमाने के बाद जब अलिया डैम बन गया बाकी डैम बन गए तो everything is fair in love and war. इस वक्त जब हमारे जब एयरक्राफ्ट लगे तो हमने उन डैम को क्यों नहीं हिट किया? तो ऐसे हम एयरफील्ड को बने दोबारा उसको बनाएंगे एयरफील्ड में दोबारा उसके ऊपर वो हो जाएगा रिस्टोर हो जाएगी। डैम को अगर हिट करते तो हमारा पानी जो रुका हुआ है वो रिस्टोर हो जाता और बजाय कि हम इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट ऑफ जस्टिस में जाके केस लड़े और अपना दोबारा केस करवाए कि हमें पानी मिले। मेरा पहला सवाल आपसे ये था। दूसरा सवाल मेरा डॉक्टर मर्चेंट साहब से है कि फ्लैग स्टाफ हाउस का मैंने अखबार में जंग में पढ़ रहा था कि यहाँ की पानी की लाइन जिसके हैं 2 लीटर पानी नहीं आ रहा और टैंकर से पानी आता है। 1991 में या 82 में अब्दुल रहीम कुरैशी साहब ने रिप्लेसमेंट किया जिसकी बेसिस के ऊपर ये प्रॉपर्टी सेल हुई और आपका ट्रस्ट है जिसमें वो 51 लाख आपको मिले। तो क्या उसमें से कुछ अमाउंट ऐसा हो सकता है जो रिड्यूस क्लियर करके पानी रिस्टोर हो जाए यहाँ का कि यहाँ का पानी किसी तरह हो जाए? दो सवाल।
There are no dues payable by flags carrier amounts for the water. We don't know even till today why there were 2 lines here when Father Jinnah was living in this house.
Why those 2 lines were cut off and nobody understands and nobody is prepared to give an answer by the government or any other civic agency. We have approached all of them and efforts have been made to all relevant agencies, the Mayor of Karachi, the Commissioner, the Water Sewage Board, everybody. And nobody has an answer to what happened to those lines, why were they disconnected. Now our requests are on record. The response is still lacking, unfortunately. 3 years have passed. He must have written, Salim Malik is here with me, he must have signed more than a dozen letters to everybody. No answer. Till today our demand still stands. So why is there no water pipeline into this premises? There is no answer. We hope one day there will be an answer.
अगर कोई जवाब ना दे सकते इट्स वेरी सिंपल हाई कोर्ट में कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन पिटीशन फाइल करेंगे ये नहीं जवाब दे रहे वेरी सिंपल नहीं जवाब देते तो उसका जवाब
No, we can't go that. We can't go that because
आपको सिर्फ इसका if you permit me sir एक इसका जवाब दे दूं।
not a matter that can go to the High Court for water connection, no. You can't file this sort of petition under the Constitution for relief. This has to be granted to us by the single government. This is their duty.
The second question, in fact, I was on television, and when the artillery strikes hit Neelam Jalan, I said this is the casus belli. Now they've given us an excuse. By hitting our dam, they've given an excuse to hit their dam. And I would not have gone to that extreme in the beginning. I would have symbolically at least, the generation check should have been taken. Even if generation check should be taken out, the hydro electric issues would have gone. You understand? So my point is, that I don't know for what reason they did not do. But that was very necessary because they did hit our dam. They did hit our dam, and that is after abrogating our treaty. And they have said on record that we will starve Pakistan to death. Right? So we have the casus belli.
We have missed the golden
Golden opportunity.
We let out a golden opportunity. Sir, you have said it very rightly. And उस वक्त तमाम जवान लोग यही सोच रहे थे जैसा कि आपने पूछा और इकराम सहगल साहब ने जवाब दिया. अगर कोई और क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर प्रेजेंस.
Go ahead, please.
सर ये जो 10 मई से पहले अक्सर लोग जो है वो प्रोपगेट करते थे कि जी पाकिस्तान का पार्टीशन नहीं होना चाहिए था, ये नहीं होना चाहिए था. 10 मई को मैंने जो है ये फील किया कि पाकिस्तान का पार्टीशन होना चाहिए था. अगर ऐसा ना होता तो हमारा गजा वालों से बुरा हाल होता, क्योंकि हिंदू महासभा ने बाद में कांग्रेस के बाद टेक ओवर करना था हिंदुस्तान को, और वो हमें जो है पता नहीं किस दौर में पहुंचा देते हैं. तो क्या मैं ये सही है मेरी राय या इसमें कुछ बेहतरी?
अगर 10 में नहीं होना था, ये आपका हाल वही होता है गाजा की तरह. वो गाजा कर रहे थे, वो यहाँ गाजा कर रहे थे जैसे इसराइल गाजा में कर रहे हैं ना, वो गाजा कर रहे थे पाकिस्तान के साथ. ड्रोन कराची भेज दिया, हैदराबाद भेज दिया, रहीम खान भेज दिया, लाहौर भेज दिया, इस्लामाबाद पेशावर तक भेज दिया कि हम कुछ भी कर सकते हैं, कभी भी कर सकते हैं. लेकिन 10 में हो गया, ठीक है, और गाजा अब नहीं होगा इंशाल्लाह.
थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. और अब जितना कुछ हो गया है उससे ज़्यादा हम एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकते, और जो पाकिस्तान का नाम जिस जगहों पे होना चाहिए था वैसा अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हो गया. थैंक यू वेरी मच.